Hey there, welcome back to my channel. So, first of all, the audio. It turns out that recording audio is not easy, and so I got this microphone because getting the audio right is at least 50% of a decent video. This is the non-negotiable thing that you need to have. Like, people can suffer through the visuals not being great, and we know this even from our calls, right? When you're in a Zoom call and the picture freezes, that's not a problem. But the moment audio goes jittery or the other person starts sounding like a robot, that's when issues start. So recording audio is not easy, and to make things slightly better, I got the microphone that's here by my right. That's probably the cheapest setup that you can go for to get decent audio with any computer that you might have. So it's essentially a condenser mic that plugs into a USB port. I link to this equipment below if you might be interested. But yeah, tell me if this sounds better for you, if you can hear me okay. Please let me know in the comments below. Along the way, I learned a lot about microphones and how the signal is recorded, how the signal goes from the analog signal to the digital signal in your computer. Uh, and it turns out that you can completely disregard all this information if all that you want to have is a microphone like this on a boom arm that plugs into your computer. So this setup was recommended to me by Sayam Bhutani. So Sayam, thanks so much. I hope to put it to good use. Now, the second piece that I would like to discuss is that I unfortunately lied to you, and I'm not happy about that, but it was me inadvertently lying because I didn't fully realize what the situation was like. So, recently I took a look at my job contract because I wanted to see when will I have my 1 year anniversary at my current job. And when I opened it up, it says that my position name is not what I thought it to be. So I've been starting these videos with, hey, my name is Radek, I'm a senior data scientist at NVIDIA. But it turns out that I'm not a senior data scientist. I'm a senior systems software engineer. Yes, so a bit of a mouthful there, but I was living in denial. That sort of maybe shows how little titles are worth, because I lived through an entire year um, without having a clue that this was incorrect. So sorry about that. Hope you can forgive me. And now coming to the third piece that I wanted to discuss here is what happens next, what comes next on my channel. So, just as recording audio is not trivial, uh, recording videos is also not easy. It's simple because you set up a camera, but there's a lot of this emotional friction that you have to overcome. Talking to a camera is most certainly weird for most of us. And on top of that, you have to figure out the small things, how to move the footage onto your computer, how to do it efficiently, how to glue things together in your video editing software. That is that seems trivial, but this actually lies at the core of you being able to output videos, and it might not necessarily be the hard part that people assume when they think of starting a YouTube channel, when they think of recording videos, but this precisely is where the challenge lies. So just as with machine learning, people assume that they will have to learn a lot of maths, they will have to maybe learn this or that. But as they start doing machine learning, it turns out that the key parts that will dictate whether you will succeed or not are actually practice and reading code, running code, being able to search for information, being able to scan through papers without being intimidated by math or without going into rabbit holes, being able to structure a project correctly. And I'm discovering something very similar with YouTube. So one major source of succeeding is being comfortable on camera. And you don't get there by scripting videos, you don't get there by trying to make your video perfect. You get there by recording videos and putting yourself out there and creating a lot of videos, like staying for long durations of time on camera. If you follow the history, if you trace the history of people who have been extremely successful on YouTube, and let's take the most famous YouTuber, Mr. Beast, as an example. He, for the longest time, had no success. I think it took him 7 years and over 400 videos to get to, what was it, maybe 1,000 or 10,000 followers, something ridiculous. So we're talking about hours of talk time, hours of being on video, hours of practicing, till you become reasonably good at it. And hey, this is how it should be. This is how you get better when you're starting to practice martial arts. You don't expect to be great at it at the get-go. You don't expect to have to earn a black belt within weeks of you starting out, right? And it's like that with every skill. It's the there was this movie Karate Kid, right? Wax off, wax on, where you go through basic motions and in the end you become very good at the discipline of choice. It's the same thing for machine learning, the same thing for recording videos, the same thing for every domain that I can think of. The time on the field, that's what matters. We as humans, and this is a very interesting parallel between us and large language models, is that we improve our performance iteratively. So the first time we attempt something, we will naturally be bad at it, and just through the sheer cycle of reflection and redoing the activity again, we become better. Of course, we human beings have the capability to learn in the process. Large language models do not, as of now, and will not for foreseeable future. But this iterative approach, it is amazing to see that the very alien intelligence of large language models also relies on the iterative process to improve its performance, even though in a limited sense. Now, humans are in a much better spot because from every iteration to the next, we reconfigure our neural pathways. So there's actual learning happening, and the exponential effect that we achieve through practice, this is a thing of beauty and something absolutely marvelous. So I want to continue to experience this in my life, where through taking action, through practicing, I will be able to look back at maybe at my YouTube videos from a year ago, and I will be able to say, wow, this is awesome. This is awesome not because I got this or that result, but because I got so much better. And this is one of the greatest joys of life, to experience the learning process. That's what I strongly feel about. All right, so maybe this was a bit of a lengthy introduction to what comes next on this channel. Well, I hope to just record a lot of videos, a lot of minutes or hours of footage, like you're listening to me right now. I'm not sure if it will be particularly good in the context of YouTube. And how do you describe a good video on YouTube? Well, it's a video that goes viral, or it's a video that gets you a lot of views. But those metrics, I think that they maybe can come later. It really doesn't matter, because I'm not sure if I even care about that in a logical sense. Like, what do I care whether I have this amount of followers or that amount of, they're even called subscribers on YouTube, right? My goal is to build a skill of transferring knowledge, of sharing information with others via a new medium. I'm fairly okay on Twitter. I'm fairly okay on when it comes to blog posts. I'm okay-ish when it comes to newsletters. But when it comes to video, this is a whole new world. It's emotionally much more challenging. It's hard also because I'm not a native English speaker. So I really want to overcome these limitations or the shortcomings of my skill set, because I feel that being comfortable on camera is something that will continue to be extremely valuable, even as AI becomes more powerful, as we can maybe create video avatars. There are already startups working on that. Even if Runway takes off and we will be able to have really good looking text to video, this will not fundamentally change the dynamics of the world we live in from the perspective of somebody like myself, because at the end you still will be willing to listen to somebody who has something interesting to say, I just hope to build that skill set. So the path to that leads through time on camera, and I attempted spending time on camera. One of the exercises that is often recommended is just grab an everyday object that you use in your life. Like, let's say I would grab these headphones and I would record a 3-minute video, discussing the pros and cons and how I use them and etc. And you don't share these videos, obviously, more broadly. You just stick them somewhere in a directory, and maybe in a while you can take a look. Hey, I have 20 videos where I practiced. But the problem is that this is imperfect. Every drill in the world has some limitations. Drills are super important, but it is only in the action where you really do learning that's on a completely different level. That's how it is with armies. An army can have the greatest training program, but then only in battle, we say that you have battle-hardened troops. Yes, because the learning that happens in the actual line of fire when you're in the genuine setting, it's completely different. The emotional sphere, and also when you're focused on the domain of your interest, that is completely different. So, instead of doing those drills, which I will still continue, some of them at least, that's for sure, I want to be putting out more videos on YouTube about the things that I want to talk about, the things that I care about, which is machine learning, deep learning, and maybe some adjacent thoughts that I have. But I think that I would really benefit from talking about machine learning and showing you some of the things that I'm interested in, some of the things that I care about. By the way, going back to those drills, this is another reason why Kaggle is so great, because on Kaggle you can't really say that participating in those competition is a drill. It's not. The competitions are very close to the machine learning problems that you will solve, you will work on in real life. we're talking probably 95-97% the experience that you would get working on a machine learning problem in real life. And the whole spiel how in real life, the data is always dirty. The data on Kaggle is also dirty in those competitions. And yes, some pre-processing has been applied, but this is a great approximation to the projects that you will work on in real life. So Kaggle is not a drill in this sense. Kaggle is very close, if not one-for-one, real-life practice. And I guarantee you that in my past, when I worked on machine learning problems, where a company had some data and they were looking for some outcome, the only missing piece between that setting and Kaggle is obviously the interpersonal abilities of talking to people and working with people and writing emails, right? But that's just the nature of the beast, and it doesn't take anything from the machine learning project that you're working on, from the technical procedure that you have to apply. In fact, I can guarantee you that people who are able to get into the bronze medal range on Kaggle in any competition, there are many real-life practitioners or people making good money working on machine learning projects that just don't have the skill set that is required to get to even the bronze level tier. Yes, that's just how life is. Obviously, why that is important to think about. My understanding is that in life it's very hard to, or it's very easy to just continue doing things, and you deliver some outcome of a project, but how is the party that hired you, how are they to verify the outcomes, whether they're good or not good? So you can have leakage in your data, you can have other crazy things, and sometimes it will go unnoticed for years, essentially. That's for the reasons that the business world is not very good in understanding how to measure progress, how to deploy these projects, which is quite sad, because there's a lot of business value that gets destroyed in the process. Of course, you have the extreme scenario as well, where somebody delivers a project and it works in validation, it's put in production, it doesn't work, and then this is an obvious scenario where something fails, and that does happen. But I think more often, those are those subtle failures where people use logistic regression, where they could be much better off using tree models. And on Kaggle, you will be immediately reminded that there are better ways. But in real life, who knows, there is no this one-to-one comparison. So right, what's coming to sum it all up? More videos, hopefully me being on camera much more, putting out footages, putting out recordings like this one. I hope that at some point they will also become more and more useful to you. That's something I care deeply about, but right now I'm limited in my skill set. So you get what you get, but hopefully I will be able to practice and get more comfortable and get better at expressing my thoughts, at editing videos, the whole package that goes into recording these videos. Also I would like to say that I hope that this is one of the last meta videos that I record on the process of recording YouTube videos, and that I will actually start to record videos on machine learning, which this video is not about. But it serves a purpose as well, because I'm, going through the motions of creating a video. I will check how the audio sounds here in a second, whether I succeeded or maybe I failed again. Yeah, so please share your thoughts in the comments. What do you think? What would you like to see? How does the audio sound to you? Thanks so much. Wishing you the very best, and see you soon.